Hey, Tourpreneurs, it's Mitch Bach, and just a quick note before we begin today's episode. Tourpreneur is currently sponsored by Google. We're thankful for their support of our community, and we are offering with them a completely free course helping you unlock the power and potential of Google's Things to Do program, which is specifically helping tour operators add their tours to Google in new ways that gives you new exposure and more direct bookings. To learn more, go to tourpreneur.com/Google. And as always, show notes, more resources, links to our newsletter, our business coaching community, and so much more are available on tourpreneur.com. Now to the episode.
Welcome to the Tourpreneur Podcast. Travel industry veteran Shane Whaley will take you on a journey with fellow tourpreneurs, sharing their tips, ideas, insights, and success stories to inspire you to make your tour business the best it can be. And now, here is your host, Shane Whaley.
Hello and welcome to episode 152 of Tourpreneur, the podcast where we flatten the learning curve for tour operators and travel professionals around the world. Got a quick episode for you today. I've actually got some really exciting announcements to reveal to you all about a few new features we've got coming up on the show and a couple of changes here at Tourpreneur. Before I get into that, I just want to give some of you a heads up that I will be taking the rest of the month of June off. I've been producing this podcast since 2019, January 2019, and I feel that a couple of weeks off to recalibrate and work on some of these new features I've got coming for you is much needed. So just wanted to let you know, if you don't see a Tourpreneur episode over the next couple of weeks, not to worry, I'm okay. I'm still around. I haven't pod faded. That's a word, you know, they say when podcasts disappear, they pod fade. But there's 150 episodes for you to go, and you can go raid that archive. And during that time, I'm working on some exciting new features that I want to share with you right now. So first of all, we are bringing back the Tour Operator Startup. Now, you'll remember that we did this last year. We followed Morgan Cantrell down in Georgia when she set up her walking tour. And I thought it would be cool to have a guest host for Tour Operator Startup. And I've invited a familiar voice to many of you, or certainly those of you that go to virtual webinars, read blogs, etc. Her name is Nikki Padilla Rivera, very experienced tour operator professional. And I said to Nikki, look, I would love for you to head up the Tour Operator Startup Series. That's where we basically follow a tourpreneur from the start right through their journey. And I learned a lot from the last one that we did. And I'm hoping that this one will be more interactive. I love the emails I got from all of you asking how Morgan was doing. And she actually has got landed a job at a museum, so she's very happy doing that. We have some guests, and I'm not going to say anything about the guests. I'm going to leave that for Nikki to introduce them. But let me just say, they're very engaging young ladies in Canberra in Australia, and I'm really excited to listen to that series where Nikki is going to walk us through their journey. So excited to see Tour Operator Startup coming back, and also excited that we have a guest host on Tourpreneur, because I'm very conscious that Tourpreneur is seen as the Shane show, and I really want to get away from that. I really want to bring on guest hosts that have a different experience in our industry than myself. You know, my background is very much in OTA, in digital marketing. Nikki has a very different background. She's a tour guide trainer. She's mystery shop tours. She definitely is more, I would say, passionate about the tour experience, whereas I'm all about, hey, how do you promote and market your tours? Nikki comes at it from a different angle. So I'm really excited to bring you that series. Then I was looking at the download numbers for Tourpreneur, and I was a little bit surprised to see that the number 2 country, the second most popular country for Tourpreneur, is actually Australia. And I was thinking it might be old Blighty. It might be the UK, but UK came a close third, but Australia was second. And, I recognize where we are right now in the pandemic, that Europe, the US, and Australia and New Zealand are very different circumstances that we're dealing with. And what we're talking about here in the US might not apply to what's happening in Australia right now. But not just that, I just felt it was really, having so many Aussie listeners, I want to produce a very own episode, our Tourpreneur Down Under, if you will. And again, I wanted to find a host who understands the market, who understands the Aussie Kiwi mentality. And I'm delighted to announce that Fiona Sweetman is going to be producing an episode once a month for tourpreneurs in Australia and New Zealand. And I hope that wherever you are in the world, you'll still tune in and listen to those episodes, because it's still interviews with tourpreneurs. It's still going to be things for all of us to learn. And many of you know Fiona. She spoke at Arrival Bangkok. She is the director at Hidden Secret Tours. She's been involved. I'm not going to say for how many years Fiona has been involved in tourism in Melbourne, but it's well over a decade. Let me just say that. Almost two. Didn't say that really. So I'm really excited for Fiona to join Tourpreneur as a guest host and to be interviewing tourpreneurs in Australia and New Zealand. We'll be bringing you more about that later on. Couple of features I'm bringing back. So we're definitely going back to Meet the ResTech. I have spent the last couple of months chatting to many of you about what kind of episodes you enjoy. And many of you said you enjoyed the Meet the ResTech because you enjoyed the format, because it wasn't noise. It wasn't someone from a ResTech selling to you. It was a genuine, authentic conversation. So we'll be bringing those back. I also want to bring in a Meet the Digital Marketing Agency. Many of you have written into me saying, okay, many of us are working other jobs, myself included. Now I'm at Redeem full time. So I don't have as much time for Tourpreneur as I once did, although they're being very generous and allowing me to do stuff. But I know many of us have other jobs right now. So maybe we can't take care of the digital marketing side of things in a way that we used to be able to do. So I'm going to be bringing in a Meet the Digital Marketing Agency series. And that's, again, where we're going to interview the agency, a customer of that agency, and one of you, an operator who's shopping around, so we can produce an authentic conversation with all the reputable digital marketing agencies that are out there. And I'm very, very excited for that one, because it can be a minefield. Like I say, I had to go through picking an agency myself, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that in a moment, and how that's affecting Tourpreneur. Another thing I've been thinking about bringing in is a Tourpreneur tech spotlight. There's a lot of technology, not leaving booking platforms to one side, things like digital waivers and apps. And I get a ton of emails from different tech providers. And I thought, well, maybe we can do a shorter slot where we bring some of these people on. If they have a technology, or if you're listening and you have a technology that you think can help tourpreneurs, then let's come on the show. Let's, talk about your technology and let us know how it can help with running our businesses. So that's on the content side. And as I said earlier on, I hired an agency because I realized that I had 150 plus episodes of Tourpreneur. And if you're not a regular listener, or if you're new to the show, or even if you're coming back to the show, because I do that all the time, I take a break from podcasts and then come back. You land on the Tourpreneur site, there's 150 episodes there. You've got to wade through to find ones that are relevant for you. So what I decided to do was to come up with curated interviews. So for instance, if you go to tourpreneur.com just go to tourpreneur.com and hit podcast. That's the first menu option. You'll see resources for tour operators, blogging, content marketing, digital marketing, meet the OTAs, meet the ResTech. You hit those buttons, there's a curated playlist. You go straight into those. Then underneath that, I've got tour operator interviews, find your niche. What is it, niche? Where I've got boat tours, bike tours, walking tours, brewery tours, food tours, history tours. So you can actually go in and they're curated. So if you are a bike tourpreneur or a bike tourpreneur in waiting, you can go straight in and actually find those. And I'll be adding to these playlists as we widen the range of tourpreneurs that we interview on the show. Big shout out to Blend Marketing. They worked on the whole new revamp of Tourpreneur.com. They've done a really good job on it. I'm really happy with the way it looks now. I think it's a lot more organized. You know, the old Tourpreneur site I'd cobbled together myself, and it was like, you know, you build a house, then you build an extension and the extension on the extension, etc. So now it's easier to navigate, and I think it's much easier to find the particular episodes that you're looking for. And that's why I want to also produce the Meet the Digital Marketing Agency series, because it was quite tricky to find, you know, a partner for me. All the agencies offer different things with different personalities, and I don't have a ton of money here to spend on Tourpreneur.com, right? So I know for all of us, it's tricky to know who to spend our money with, and who's reputable and who's going to do a good job, because none of us have money to burn. And also, as part of that revamp, I launched quite a few months ago Tourpreneur Jobs, which is fast becoming the go-to place in the industry for travel professionals to find opportunities in sales, marketing, customer care, operations. And, you know, quite a few people said to me, why don't you charge for this? You got a lot of people coming to Tourpreneur. You got a lot of people reading your brief. You should be charging. And you know what? I don't want to ever charge for the jobs on Tourpreneur. I want it to remain free to post. And it's never going to be you need to sign up and register to look at the jobs. That's not me. I just want a place where job seekers come and look at opportunities that are relevant. I update it every week. So every Tuesday, the jobs have been checked. They're freshly updated. I remove any that have been filled, add new ones. And if you are hiring in sales, marketing, operations, customer care, drop me an email at shane@tourpreneur.com, add the link to the job description, send me a logo. And if you go to tourpreneur.com/jobs, you can see how that looks right now. You get a company profile, and I post all the vacancies. It's just my way of helping people out in these tough times, because yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel, but many of us are still looking for work. And also, even for employers, it's not easy to find talent, believe it or not. So tourpreneur.com/jobs. And last but not least, I want to say thank you, a very public thank you to sponsors here at Tourpreneur, because none of this happens by magic. There are costs involved. For instance, I'll give you a really good example of this. I've just sent Nikki and Fiona really good microphones. I'm a bit of a stickler for good audio quality, and you know, they're not cheap. Sent those out. That's all because of the generosity of our sponsors. This is one example of how they help out. So a big thank you to Rocket Res, to Redeem, to Ventrata, to Checkfront, to Fair Harbor, to Indie Travel, and to Zola. I'm hoping I've named you all now, as I'm going to be in trouble. I have to give you a 3 months advertising if I've missed your name. But seriously, I couldn't do what I do without the generosity and support of all of our sponsors. If you've got an intriguing story, if you want to share your journey with your fellow tourpreneurs, drop me an email at shane@tourpreneur.com, and let's get you on the airwaves. Let's share your story and journey as a tourpreneur. So until July, take care.
Thanks for listening to the Tourpreneur Podcast. Be sure to visit tourpreneur.com to join the conversation and access the show notes, including links to the resources mentioned on today's episode. This is Tourpreneur.